Hi everyone, thank you for your presence. Today I'm going to be going through the famous legend of the Trojan Horse and how the term became a well used metaphor in the modern world. Some of us might have even heard about the movie Troy, in which Brad Pitt played as the main actor. That aside, let's go through a little bit of history first. Many centuries ago, there existed an ancient city called Troy. It was located along the coast of Asia, which is currently the largest continent on the earth. It is built in a strategic and a fortified place, which made it really hard for the Greeks, who were located just across the sea, to capture Troy. In addition to that, Troy had very high and fortified walls which made it nearly impossible for the Greeks to get over and attack Troy. It is said that the Greeks had been trying to bring down the walls and get into Troy for about a decade, 10 years. That's a really long period of time. The Greeks, however, had the larger army and thus they laid siege continually to the city, while Troy kept defending its well fortified city successfully, so neither side got any closer to winning at all. One day, however, a clever and cunning idea struck Odysseus, a famous Greek general. Before we get into the idea, we need to know that during ancient times, the losing side of a war was generally expected to present a gift to the winning side. It could be anything, from gold or precious stones to clothes, ships, and even small cities. Coming back to the subject, Odysseus suggested the Greeks to pretend to sail away from the coast of Troy and presents the Trojans with a gift. The Greeks at the time were famous and skilled with art, so the proposed gift was a magnificent and huge hollow wooden horse which would secretly carry 30 Greek soldiers hiding inside. This piece of art was to be presented as a departure gift to the Trojans, who would take it into the city walls and display it as a symbol of victory in the midst of the Trojan civilians. The 30 hidden men would then sneak out at night and open the heavy gates of Troy, leading the massive Greek army into Troy and thus capturing it easily without any resistance at all. Would this actually work though? On hearing this idea, the eyes of all the weary soldiers and the authorities lit up. They set the highly skilled artists into building the horse, and the outcome was magnificent and majestic. When the horse was finally complete, the Greeks bought the horse near the gates of Troy and pretended to sail away from the coast slowly. The Trojan archers stationed on top of the wall couldn't believe their eyes. They thought that after so many years, the Greeks had finally given up and started to retreat to their homeland. On top of all that, they had also left a majestic gift just outside the city gates. On watching the Greeks retreating, the Trojans dragged the heavy horse back into the city and closed the gates. Even though some of the people were yelling for the horse to be burned down as they didn't trust the crafty Greeks, majority of them wanted to keep the horse as a sign of massive victory over their arch-rival Greece. So they decided to keep the horse and display it in public. A huge celebration then occurred that day, the day when the Trojans thought they had finally defeated the unwavering Greeks. That night, however, after all the Trojans were fast asleep because of all the reckless celebrations, the 30 Greek soldiers who were hidden all this time inside the Trojan horse carefully opened a secret latch and climbed out quietly. That's smart. They went on to open the huge gates of Troy, letting the massive army of Greece who had also quietly turned around their boats under the cover of darkness and were armed to invade Troy. The exhausted and tiny Trojan army stood no chance against the mighty Greeks, and thus the mighty city of Troy was captured, all stemming from a cunning idea from a Greek general. Today, in our age, the term Trojan horse is used as a metaphor to trick our enemy or rival into allowing us into their personal space or a secure place of high importance. Those of us using computers would have also heard about the Trojan virus. It's a very common type of virus which is hidden inside an application which we download and then we install it on a computer, granting the Trojan virus a very easy access into a secure and protected operating systems. This is the legend of the Trojan horse. Thank you for listening.